Sakshi. Welcome to Career LinkPod.
Hi, Aayushi. Hi, Subin. How are you guys?
Hi, Sakshi.
We're doing good. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for asking.
So, Sakshi, I have known you for quite some time. And if you let our viewers know about yourself and the business you are building.
Sure. I have spent about the last 15 plus years in the wealth management industry, the fintech, and mostly the B2B environments, mostly in roles where things are a bit complex, multiple stakeholders, regulated environments, and products that are powerful, but not always easy to explain or adopt. Over time, I realized that I tend to sit in the space between product, marketing, and customer experience. What are we building? Why does it matter? And how do we make people use the products that we're building? It's been a consistent thread in my career where it was leading product or platform strategy at a national wealth management firm, launching integrated fintech solutions, or building adoption and enablement programs that actually moved the needle. More recently, I started my own consulting firm, Nav2Win Consulting, which is my way of formalizing the work I've been doing for the past couple of years. I partner with founders and wealth leaders or leadership, sorry, not wealth leaders. Wealth leaders were the people I used to work with, but now I work with founders and leaders who have strong products, services, or ideas, but they just need clarity on positioning, growth strategy, or how to execute effectively. And that's where I come into play. What I've learned is that most companies don't have lack of ideas. They have gap between strategy and execution. So my work really focuses on closing that gap and helping them move from we have a plan to, oh, this is working in the market. And personally, I'm drawn to building, whether that's a product, a narrative, or a business. I like being close to the work that I do, not just setting goals and direction for the companies and the leaders, but actually helping them bring everything to life.
So, when did you realize that you are more sort of a builder person as well?
I don't think so. It was one big moment where it was like, okay, I'm a builder. I think it was more of a pattern that I started noticing over time. In different roles, I'd ask, why are we building this? Why are we doing it this way? Is this even solving the right problem? Or do we need to look at anything differently to solve a specific problem? And then I'd end up designing something, whether it was the approach, whether it was the process, whether it was the pricing, or it was the end user experience. One moment that really stood out to me right now is I was working on the launch of a fintech platform with a group of independent financial advisors. We had really strong tools, but adoption wasn't there. And instead of just pushing through campaign after campaign, what I did was I started rebuilding the whole approach, how we were positioning the product, how we were pricing the product, and how we were onboarding the advisors. All of that mattered in the bigger scheme of things. And were they being supported after we launched? Were there ongoing training sessions because the products are always evolving? So those are the things that shifted at the end that actually increased the adoption and the usage of the platform. So that's when it clicked to me that I'm less motivated about maintaining systems the way they are and more energized about figuring out what's broken, what we are building, and is it actually solving a real problem? And over time, it just became how I operated as a person.
Interesting. And over to you, Subin.
So to better understand, would it be right to say that you are the person who bridges the gap by not only if a company has some technology which they are planning to launch into the industry, you are one of those persons who would support with the communications, with the strategic resources and everything on a simple term?
I bring the third-party license or the third-person license to the whole process. I am not there every day. I wasn't there to build the product. But I do take my time to understand the industry if it is outside what I already have experience in. Even within the wealth management industry, there is a lot of different segments that you can be part of. So even if a wealth management firm is bringing me in, I will still take my time to understand how they do business. I actually spend about a month understanding what they do, how they do it, what are the processes they're using. And then based on that, I'll take it away and come up with a strategy. And companies can actually hire me for a short term where they are like, okay, we are spending a day with you. Come in, we'll explain what we do, what are the problems you're facing, and based on that, give us a report, or they can retain me for a longer time to say, okay, we have a project, we are working towards this, but there are roadblocks. We just can't get past it. Sometimes a third person view or a third party view always is helpful to understand where the block is, because you won't be dealing with it on a daily basis.
Thank you. And since starting your consulting business, how did you set up everything, and what are the typical costs involved in launching a service-based business in Canada?
I wish I could say that it was a beautifully thought out plan. It wasn't. After my last employment ended, I was reached by a friend to see if I was ready to take on a project. And I talked to our accountant to see if it made sense. And he was like, if you want, you can just register your company. And that's what triggered things for me. But what I've learned on the way is I'm like, okay, I think I can do this and I'll figure it out. And that was the whole background about me getting into my own business. And what I've learned is setting up a business in Canada is actually very straightforward. You register your business, you have some basic contracts in place with your clients, you set up a simple website or a LinkedIn page. I don't have a website myself. I'm in the process of creating one. And you're up and running. It's a service-based business, can be set up for a few $1,000s. You just have to keep things lean. But that's the easy part of it. It's the harder part is the identity shift, because you are going from someone is going to hire me to have to create my own opportunities. That's where the mind shift has to happen. You are going from having a structure that was created for you to having to create your own structure. How are you going to spend your time? How are you going to prioritize the work that you're doing over everything else that's going on in life? How do you define success? Because for everyone, success is different as well. So that means getting comfortable, putting yourself out there, selling yourself, talking about what you do, and more times than you would like to hear the no as an answer, that we do not need this at this point. So it also means that you are responsible for the work that you're putting out there, and you're backing it up because that's what you believe in, and standing behind it matters. So I think that's the part that people really underestimate. It's less about the mechanics of starting a business, but more about setting or stepping into a different way of thinking and operating. That's the part that is less straightforward, but that's also where the most growth happens. You're not working for somebody, the systems are not defined anymore. And putting yourself out there to say that, yes, I'm selling myself, because at the end of the day, your business is also you. So that's the mindset change that is required.
As you mentioned that putting yourself out there and selling, what are some of the typical platforms or maybe strategies you have used to be visible and to find clients?
So my first client, as I mentioned, didn't come from a big strategy or anything. They came from conversations from people who I had worked before with. They reached out. They already trusted how I thought, how I showed up. So that trust is incredibly powerful, especially early on in your business. When you have people who you've worked with and they're like, oh, I'm in a different industry, but I remember what you did for me back then and what you do now. Let's get together and let's see if something can work out. So yes, there was a time when I felt that I need to market myself better. I need a more polished brand out there. I need to have a perfect pitch. I need to have a perfect LinkedIn. But what's worked for me has been being clear about what I deliver, honest about what I can do and where I might have to bring external resources to complete the project or deliver the project, and the problems that I can solve. And the biggest thing has been relationships. For me, LinkedIn has played a role because people see my posts and they're like, okay, we resonate with what she's posting. It's solving a problem for us. They'll reach out. But usually that's not enough. Finding client isn't really about finding them in the traditional sense. It's more about building that visibility, creating that trust over time, and then having those conversations. I have those conversations with the relationships I've built over time. And those relationships may lead to introductions. And those introductions are really the ones that will lead to opportunities. Sometimes it would be the people I've worked with in the past will lead to opportunities, but there are other times where they'll introduce me to their contacts who might be looking for people who deliver what I deliver. And those introductions will lead to opportunities. And if you've done good work, that compounds because that client will refer you to somebody else who needs similar work and similar help. And that's when the referrals start to happen. And that's when you spend less time chasing and more time choosing about the right work that you're doing. So for me, it's been less about being aggressive outreach, but more about the clarity, consistency, and maintaining those relationships and doing that outreach with those relationships where the introductions have happened.
Thank you. Over to Aayushi.
Well, what advice you would give to someone who wants to start this business today or wants to build a career out of this?
I can relate because it's taken me a long time. I hesitated for the longest time. One thing I would say is take that first step, because if there is an idea you have, just take that first step. I'm not saying that you should quit your job or go all in day one.
Yeah.
I just say that jump in the unknown. Confidence comes after you've done something uncomfortable and realize that you've survived it.
Yeah.
So once that small proof point is done, that's holding you back, you have taken that small step and you are in the game. You can test your idea, talk to people. It may not be perfect, but you'll get feedback.
Yeah.
And you'll know how people are responding. And you can keep tweaking your idea as you're going. Because once you've taken your first step, that's when things start to shift. You get feedback, you get clarity, and you start to understand what is working and what isn't working. And once you have that clarity, you start to see things differently, not just as someone thinking about doing something, but someone who is actually doing it makes the difference. And that first leap, that first step is very important. And then you just have to take the next one after that and the next one after that, and you start the journey.
Yeah. And you talked about hesitation. So what was your hesitation when you thought of starting a business?
It was, again, I've been working most of my life. So that mindset shift had to happen.
Yeah.
It was also, will I be successful? Should I do it? You always are weighing the pros and cons, and that hesitation, anyone who's starting their business will always have that hesitation. So again, as I said, that taking that first step is important, and I wasn't ready till I pushed myself into it.
Yeah.
You'll never have that perfect plan, or you won't have one day you wake up and you are ready that, okay, I'm ready to do this. It never comes unless you take that first step.
100%. Yes. Thank you for sharing that. I understood the whole your product management, but someone who is not even aware about like products, like how does things work. So how would you describe them what the product management role is? And sometimes product management is always get confused with like project management, which is two different things.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. So if you could share a few points on that.
Yeah, so in simple terms, I would say that product manager is responsible for making sure we are building the right thing.
Mm-hmm.
And the project managers are responsible for we are building everything within time and within budget. So that's the simple difference between a product manager and a project manager. Both are very critical and they solve very different problems. I've seen situations where teams delivered something perfectly on time and on budget, but everything checked off, but no one used the product because the problem didn't actually arrive, or the problem wasn't there. The product wasn't solving a problem. So for me, product management is really about understanding the customer, the problem, and the why behind what we are building, and what are we trying to solve. So as long as you can clearly define why we are building and what is the problem we are solving and what are we trying to solve in the first place, what to prioritize and what the success will actually look like, I think that's what the product manager's role or product management's role is in the bigger scheme of things. Project management comes in, but that is after the product has been defined. They will come in, plan things out, create timelines, coordinate how resources are being used, and making sure that all the pieces are moving towards the right direction. In reality, the two really need to work closely together. And for me, it's simple. Product is, should we build this? And project is, how do we do it efficiently? So at the end of the day, they are both needed for a project or a product. And when they are both working together, that's when you know that you are actually building a valued product.
And product can be in a form of anything. It can be like a product, like a tangible, or it could be an intangible thing as well.
Yeah, it could be a service-based product. It could be a physical product. It could be a technology product.
Thank you for sharing that. Over to you, Subin.
Thank you. And as we are speaking about product management, if someone wants to start a career in product management, what should they focus? And are there any certificates or maybe existing professionals who want to switch into this? Would you be able to give some guidance?
Sure. I didn't grow up thinking that I wanted to be in product management, to be very frank.
Yeah.
And I don't think so. Most people think what they're getting into. They have ideas, but they also take paths differently into the roles that they grow into when they become adults. So what I've learned for product management, the skills that actually matter are very human. You just need to understand people, what they need, what they struggle with, what they're not saying out loud. And then you have to make sure that you can take something complex and make it simple to understand. And the third part that works for me is, can you make decisions with the imperfect information that you have? Because there will be a lot of noise out there, but can you take that noise and bring it together into a product? So that's really the core for product management. In terms of study, there's no single path. Everyone learns differently, and people in the product management space that I've worked with have come from different backgrounds. Some have come from business, others have come from engineering. There's a third set that are designers by nature. And then there's also the human psychology. So I have seen psychologists who have come into this profession by choice. So it helps build a foundation. So what helps is building a foundation in customers' thinking, problem solving, and some business strategy. But you need to have a little bit of that technical understanding to work with the technology teams as well, to collaborate effectively with those teams. So certifications can help 100%. I'm not against certifications, but I don't have any formal product certifications myself. For me, what has worked is the thought process of why we are building, what we are building, who we are building it for, and what is the problem it's solving. So for me, that habit of constantly asking the why, the what, the who behind everything has helped me stay close to the real problem. Hands-on experience for me has worked more than a certification, but that's also how I learn. I love to get my hands dirty. I love to jump in and try to solve a problem. That's how I learn. But again, as I said, that everyone learns differently. And if people learn through certification, then there are some product management certifications out there as well that they can take.
I want to add something on that. When you said why, what, who, I've been practicing about like creating boundaries in my life, and it is so hard because you have always been when you're in consulting world, you are always like being like yes to everything, whatever client is saying, yes, we have this. So it is so much we are like into like being a people pleasing thing, and then how you need to stop that and start creating a boundary. And this why, what, and who actually helped a lot. And I just wanted to emphasize on that. It does work in your personal life as well.
Yeah, 100%. And which is why I said that it's very human, that what product management is very human.
Yeah.
How you're thinking, how you're asking questions, and how well you understand the problem. And it is similar, it's a parallel shift. You can actually be asking questions in your personal life, but you take the same mindset when you're doing product manager roles, or a strong product manager will actually be asking the same questions that you will be asking in your own life.
So true.
So basically, I think if I understand correctly, it's a gradual transition based on your interests when you start working in a role. And so if it's IT services, you slowly develop more interest, and then you become a product owner of a team, and similar kind of approach.
For me, that has been the case. Started my career as in Canada as in sales. Then I moved to marketing. From there, I moved to product marketing. And from there, actually in between, I had these compliance role as well, because I've always been in this regulated industry. So I went from sales to marketing to product marketing. And in between, I had some compliance roles where I was a compliance officer for an exempt market dealer. All those learnings and how I approached projects made it clear that I would be a good fit. And technology has always interested me. That's something I've always been inclined towards. So that mindset change helped me move into the platform management and product management roles.
And during the early stages of product management, what could be an approximate earnings they start with, and how does it evolve over time?
So at the start, it's decent earnings. It's not life-changing, but entry-level product roles in Canada tend to be in a comfortable range, enough to build a solid foundation. But I also suggest don't do it for the immediate financial benefits. Yes, finances or money is always important, but if you're getting into a product role, do it because that's how you think, that's how you want to make a difference. Eventually, once you start taking on more niche roles, more senior roles or leadership roles, that's when the compensation does become significant with bonus and base salaries and equity. But initial compensation, I won't say it's bad. It's obviously above the medium that most of the people are earning. But look at what you're going to learn from there. Because I think the growth always happens when you move from executing tasks to owning outcomes. And when you're no longer just supporting features and actually responsible for things like adoption and revenue impact or customer service, your value changes, and that's when your compensation changes as well. Again, it's a mindset shift.
Thank you. Over to Aayushi.
And with that, I have another question. So, because you mentioned like initially it is more about the foundation building. So what kind of roles are like, if you can name some of the role, which is like having to set that it will help me to build a foundation in product management, like, and I can ladder up in corporate and then go up to product management or senior product manager, something like those positions.
So when I started, there were no roles for product. Product management is a more recent shift in the industry.
Yeah.
But I think, again, it's how you think. You just Like if you think strategically, you can see the big picture. And once you've seen the big picture, you can divide that into chunks. That's the whole purpose. And the roles that are out there right now, you do have product coordinators and the product specialists and the product strategists. And there are specific roles even in the communication side of things for product people. So you can start as a product coordinator. When I started, there weren't any product roles. So I went into product marketing because it was something that was created at the company at the time. I really liked doing and working with our advisors and our partners. So that's how the shift happened for me. But for anyone who is starting out new, can actually start looking at, and you don't have to have formal product role either. You can take an existing app that you use on a daily basis and say, how can I improve it? That's a mindset shift, but it's also helping you think from a product perspective, because how are you making that shift and how are you enhancing that app is part of product management.
Wow, that's the great way you put it out there.
So,
and when it comes to how AI is taking over and everything, so how is AI influencing product management?
I think there's a lot of fear and a lot of hype around AI.
Yeah.
Last week, I attended a 3-day web summit in Vancouver, and there were a lot of conversations about AI, about automation, about the pace of change, how quickly AI is changing. And however, my biggest takeaway wasn't a product demo or a keynote speaker. It was the people I interacted with, the side conversations that we had in between sessions, the willingness to connect with others, and the openness in sharing experiences, lessons learned, and the opportunities that are being created. And in a space that is focused heavily on what's next, that connection really stood out for me. And one of the topics that did come up was the same, how AI is impacting the work we are doing today, not just in product management, but project management, the coding, and the program managers, like how things are shifting. And I think personally what the takeaway was that it isn't taking away from product management. It's making good product managers even more valuable, because the volume of ideas, the volume of output, and the possible directions is increasing. And a good product manager can actually jump in there, cut through the noise, and make clear decisions about what is actually noise and what are concrete ideas. And that even the product management role is changing with AI coming into play. Because even till 2 years ago, it was about documentation, drafts, scope, and all of that is changing. It's less about spending time on documentations and scopes and early drafts. It's more about judgment. It's more about prioritization. It's more about communication and more about strategy. So the real question isn't if AI is going to replace the product managers. It's about, can product managers make AI to think better, to move faster, and to stay focused on what actually matters. And when I say move faster, it's not moving faster delivering the products.
Mm-hmm.
It's moving faster with the decisions that we are making, with the products that we are thinking of launching. And the ones who can do that have the real advantage here. Technology may shape how we are working, but the way we are supporting each other hasn't changed. Mm-hmm. And while we are navigating this change, at the end of the day, the part that still remains the same is how we feel very human still. So AI isn't replacing anything. It's changing how we do things. And anyone who is ready to make that shift will move ahead in the game, and others will follow. It's similar to what happened when the internet came. there was a hype. I don't know how many of you remember that, but there was a big hype that internet is taking away jobs. It's people who adopted to it, stayed in, and made it. And it's a similar shift, just at a faster pace. But humans aren't going anywhere.
Thank you for sharing that. Over to you, Subin.
As we have spoken about technology, one of the areas is the UX and the UI. What would be one of the main difference between a UX and a UI? And what is this all confusion at a layman's world?
In layman terms, UI is what looks beautiful and UX is what makes sense. That's basically the difference in the layman term. There's a difference between the two, and a lot of the companies don't understand that. When you open a product app, it will look amazing. It will have great colors. It will be very clean. It will be very modern. But when you actually go and try using that app, you click on something and it's not working. And that's when you start thinking, why is this so hard? Why can't this app do what it's supposed to do? And that is a UX problem. So UX is about how something works, how intuitive it is. It's the overall experience that the end user gets. That is the UX part of it. Understanding the user journey and removing any frictions. Let's say if you go on a website, you're like, okay, it should be easy. I'll take an example. I go to my son's school's website, and finding a form to get your background clearance as a parent because you're volunteering should be an easy process. You go search for it, and there are 100 links that open, and everyone is embedded into link after link, and it takes you from page after page. That's the journey, user journey. So it shouldn't do that. A good user experience should be, okay, I click on the first link, it takes me to the app or to the form that I'm looking to fill out, but not how it works. That's where the UX comes into play. I can see everything is beautifully laid out. They have the layout, they have the typography, the colors have been enhanced, and they're all using the most recent brands and everything. Overall, the look and feel is great for the school's website, but the experience is a different thing altogether. The user journeys that were created or mapped out in the back are not the same. So for me, UI is what you see, and UX is what you feel when you use it. That's the difference. And if you're building a good product, UI and UX go hand in hand. You don't just admire how they look, but you actually enjoy using them.
And if someone wants to enter into that space of UX or UI, are there any specific certifications?
There are design courses available at most universities these days, and there are a lot of other courses out there, even from a product management perspective. There's a way of thinking, there's a way of visualizing things. So for UI, it's the design certifications and stuff, but for the UX part of it, it's the user journeys and thinking about how you can remove friction from a process. And yes, there are certifications available at almost all the universities these days.
As we already spoke about AI, there are many self-development, I would say vibe coding kind of, where the people are nowadays building their own websites through certain applications. So do you think those still have any impacts on these UX and UI designers, or it's totally different still?
So I'll be very upfront. I'm very close friends with a couple of UX and UI designers. And with AI coming into play, it's become difficult. But how human thinks and how humans do work is still different. Actually, interestingly, I saw a post one of my UI friends had commented on yesterday on LinkedIn. Somebody was like, I need a designer. And they were given 100 options about what kind of a designer they were looking for. Were they looking for a UI designer? Were they looking for a UX designer? Were they looking for a web designer? Were they looking for a video designer? Were they looking for, there were 100 options, and they couldn't figure out which kind of a designer they wanted. And I think that's where the industry is. With AI coming into play, you can clearly see the difference between the designs that have been created by humans versus the designs that have been created by AI. Because that human element where you understand the nitty-gritties of how a human brain works, the gap could be closed, but AI will still be machine at the end of the day. And even now, like, I can do tons with all these AI tools out there, but when I went to build my own company's logo, I used AI for ideas. And to be very frank, I took ideas from 10 different designs to, at the end of the day, create what worked for me. So that's where the human intervention is still needed. Because as much as I wanted AI to come up with the great idea, it gave me 100 ideas, but not one that worked for me.
Yeah.
And I know we are talking about AI and how it's impacting the design world and everything. At the conference, one thing that was shared is that a lot of these vibe coding websites are available, and one specific AI site was mentioned who lets you create websites. I won't say names here, but what was told is that they left the client's information out in the open 45 days for anyone to grab. So those are the scary stories that you hear from people who are actually using AI on a daily basis. And when they tell you that those safety parameters, are they still there? Are they working? Nobody can guarantee that. None of the AI use or the companies who are doing that can assure you that what they're building is following that safety parameters. They have their SOC 2 certifications and stuff to make sure that they have followed the regulatory guidelines and the compliance work that is required around the safety of the client's information. When I heard that there were 45 days where anyone could go and grab the client's data, that was scary for me, because I do come from a background where client information and the privacy of that information is a top concern.
Yeah, I agree, because there are so many reports coming in, though there have been some specific parameters, legal boundaries, still those have been not considered, and we recently come to know so many cases are coming in. Right? Thank you. Over to Aayushi.
So if someone wants to build their career and starting in UX designing today, for example, how can they build their portfolio? Because everywhere you go, they ask for portfolios, right? So how can they do that?
I think one of the biggest misconceptions that I've seen out there is that you need official experience before you can build a portfolio. That's not the case. You don't need official experience. I think, and this is like looking online and searching online, I think some of the best and the strongest portfolios I've come across were built through self-initiated work. As I mentioned, that someone going in and redesigning an app that they are using every day to make it better, because that is coming from practical experience. Okay, I use this app, this is working, this isn't working. That shows people how you're thinking. You pick a frustrating experience and improve it. I talked about our school's website. I can go in and build those layouts and create those user journeys to say, okay, this is from my experience that this information should be readily available, but it's not. So I think once you document how you think, your assumptions, and why you are making the decisions that you're making, and then testing those out and creating a portfolio based on that, that's the key part. It's not just about the final screen or how it looks. As long as you can show that what is the problem that we are solving, what trade-offs did we make, and what would you do differently if you were to do the same project again, those learnings, those takeaways, that builds the best portfolios, according to me. A thoughtful case study on a simple problem is more powerful for me than a polished project that has no depth behind it.
Right. Yeah. Thank you for clearing that air. And how does project management, product management, and UX and UI, they all work together? Like, what is the And how does that happen, like if you see it in the real world?
So product management, as I said, is finding the why, who, where, what, right?
Yeah.
So once you have defined the scope that, okay, this is the problem you're trying to solve, these are the client audience, that's when you start bringing the team together. And to bring the team together, I think you need to start with the UX, creating those user journeys, creating those experiences. Stepping into the shoes of your clients, doing some interviews with the clients or some feedback sessions with the clients to say, this is what we are thinking of building. If you were to use it, what kind of user journey makes sense for you? Is this solving a problem for you? And that's where the UX comes into play. And then once the user journeys are defined, the roadmaps are defined, that's when you bring the UI person into place to say, now we are designing, how do we lay out everything? What makes sense? Do the typography and the colors work? And overall look and feel, is it working? And then everyone comes together to make sure that the UI has been put in place, the guidelines from a UI perspective have been put in place, the user journeys that were defined by UX have been put in place. And are we still in those parameters of, are we still solving the same problem? And is it going to be beneficial to the end user? And then you bring in the technology teams to actually build everything and test everything. Testing is very important. You can't go to market without testing.
Yes, thank you. Over to you, Subin.
And what's one unpopular opinion you have about product management or UX?
I think the biggest unpopular opinion out there is that we always over-celebrate speed. There's this constant pressure on companies and on people to ship fast, to ship often, but at the same time, to be fair and to be good, it keeps teams moving and prevents that overthinking. So sometimes you just have to take a step back to say, is it actually worth it to build this? Because when we are moving too fast, we can have wrong decisions. We can make wrong decisions. And those wrong decisions can lead to wrong outcomes, or you're delivering something that people are not going to use.
Yeah.
So that cost of delivering something wrong, it's not just technical. It's the time and the focus and the team's energy. And most of all, the customer's trust that has gone into it, right? So sometimes it's good to just take a step back and slow down, not just because you want to slow down, but you intentionally slow down, because then you're like, are we taking the right direction? Are we going in the right direction? Because when you're moving too fast, you don't think those things. You don't stop and think, yes, you have the client feedback and you have created your roadmap and everything. But when you're in that mode of just speed and delivering and shipping everything, you don't step back to see, are you still within the parameters of the client's ask, or have you spiraled out of it? Because it doesn't take long to spiral out of things either when you're always in that delivery mode. So sometimes the pause has to be intentional to say, okay, let's pause and think if this makes sense, and have we defined the scope properly, because it's solving something for the client instead of deliver.
Right.
I think that's a different viewpoint I have heard, because usually we always talk about speed, do it quickly.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And that's what I'm saying. Like these days, a lot of the times we don't have that intentional pause to take, because we are so busy delivering and keeping those expectations. A lot of the big companies actually give 20% of the time to employees to say, okay, this is, let's say, off a work week, they'll be like, okay, Friday is your day to go and think outside the box. Go and think how we can improve this process. Go and think what actually matters. A couple of years ago, I'd read a book about this. Can't remember the name, but I can look it up and send it to you after the podcast,
Yeah.
where it's intentional pause, intentional thinking, how that has helped create better leaders and create better companies in the long run.
Interesting.
And we know you have multiple priorities going on. Along with that, you're building your business. So how do you manage your time and your work-life balance?
I'll be honest, I don't think so. A work-life balance is something that can be achieved, and it's not a fixed state of mind either. It's daily trade-offs. There are days when I'm fully present at work and moving things as they should be. And then there are other days where my whole day goes revolving around my kids' needs. Because if I'm being honest, life is always chaotic. What has helped me is that not everything has to be perfect all the time. It's okay to have a messy kitchen one day just because you are either focusing on work or your kids are a priority that day. Some days you'll have a big work deadline and you are just holed up in your corner to deliver that. And then there are other days where it's like, okay, it's my kids' performance or it's their competition, and you wind down work to be present for them. So it's a daily trade-off. It's intentional to see what the day is looking like for you and what matters that day. Sometimes you have to meet deadlines and work takes priority, and other times, or most times, family comes first.
Yeah.
I think, and again, that perfectionist mindset has to go. You think in terms of priorities, you think in terms of seasons, and that's when it becomes more manageable and less stressful. I don't think so. My kitchen needs to be clean every day, or my house needs to be mopped every day.
Yeah.
Once a week works for me, and it works for my family, and that's good enough.
Realistic expectations.
Yeah. So it's basically about setting a realistic expectation for yourself and not getting influenced by like people who post on Instagram, mostly like, having a perfect life, a day in my life.
I would really like to see how some of these people who post on Instagram about clean houses and everything, how they manage it, because I would like to spend a day with them when their life isn't perfect, and are they still posting their perfect life on there?
Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing that, Sakshi. It was great talking to you. I learned so much about product management, about UX, about project management, and it was, for me also, it was a great learning curve.
And it has been lovely meeting you and Subin. Thank you for having me on the podcast and letting me bring a little bit of my knowledge to the world.
Of course. And if someone wants to reach you out, so what would be the easiest approach, or what would be the easiest way?
The easiest way is to connect with me on LinkedIn.
Mm-hmm.
I am active on LinkedIn. My company has a LinkedIn page as well. So that's the best way to reach out to me if somebody wants to connect. My LinkedIn handle is Sash Khanna.
Okay.
And if you want, I can send you my QR code for LinkedIn or my profile link.
Sounds good. I think we both can, Subin, we can add the LinkedIn profile.
Yeah, sure.
For Sash. Yeah, in her podcast, like when we upload that on YouTube, we will add that, and on LinkedIn, we will add your name and we'll tag you so that you get more viewership and you can share it further. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.